They mistook your silence for weakness. The quiet one in the corner, easily overlooked, easily dismissed. But they were wrong, so very wrong, and now they're frozen, stunned, watching you rise with unwavering clarity, finally revealing the truth they never saw coming. You never needed to announce yourself. You watched, listened, took note of every game they played, every underhanded move masked by charm and false smiles. While they performed, you prepared. While they schemed, you studied. And now the moment is yours. No more shadows, no more waiting. You step forward, not just seen but felt. The true force in the room, the real authority, their illusion of control, shattered. Checkmate. They thought your silence was ignorance, it was strategy. You let them laugh, let them whisper, let them believe they were winning, all the while you were 10 steps ahead. And now reality hits. Their stomachs drop. Their minds race. They replay every slight, every smirk, every calculated insult, realizing too late that you saw everything. They believed they were the ones pulling strings, but the strings they held were tied to a trap of their own making. It starts with a pause, a stammer, a flicker of doubt in their voice. Their confidence falters. Their certainty cracks. The room shifts. Because under your ache, there's no mask that holds. You saw the jealousy beneath the praise, the sabotage behind the smile, the fear behind the arrogance. And now they see the truth. You weren't naive. You were waiting. And now you've arrived. The realization hits them like a weight on their chest. You saw them, watching you, waiting for you to stumble, hoping for you to fail. You saw them mimicking your moves, lurking, studying you, taking notes like devoted disciples, all while swearing they weren't obsessed. But the truth, they were the ones being observed. They were the ones being played. And now panic settles in. It creeps into their every movement. Their laughter turns forced. Their presence stiffens. Every conversation, every interaction carries a new weight because they don't know how much you saw, what you plan to do with it, or if they're already caught in your next move. And that uncertainty, that fear, is far worse than anything you could ever say. Their mask is slipping. Their performance is over. You never moved carelessly. Every step you took was calculated. But now their entire world is shifting because of you. You felt their eyes on you. Too intense, too frequent, too unnatural. The way they lingered when they thought you wouldn't notice. They wanted to believe you were oblivious, blind to the little games they played in the shadows. But you were never blind. You watched them the way a hunter watches prey, unmoved, unbothered, letting them move freely, waiting for them to expose themselves. And they did, over and over again. Every whisper behind your back, you caught it. Every stolen idea, you let it happen. Every attempt to outmaneuver you, you watched, amused, as they dug themselves deeper. They wanted to control the game, but they never realized you were the one writing the rules. It was almost too easy, letting them think they were outsmarting you. A nod here, a faint confusion there. They saw what they wanted to see, a clueless target, someone they could manipulate, someone who would never see them coming. But you were always 10 steps ahead. You studied them just as they studied you, tracking their every move. And now the game is over. They mimicked your words, your habits, your style, believing they could replicate what was never meant for them. They convinced themselves they had the advantage, that they had cracked the code to becoming you. But then came the moment of truth, that cold shock in their eyes, the way their breath hitched, the sudden struggle to act natural around you. It's setting in now. They know you saw through them the entire time. And it's eating them alive. There's no escaping it now. Paranoia creeps in, wrapping around their thoughts like a vice. Were you always this aware? How much did you see? What do you know that they don't? But you don't have to say a word. Your silence is heavier than any accusation. You let them play their little game. You let them believe they had power. But power was never in their hands. It was always in yours. They made you their rival before you even noticed they existed. From the moment you walked in, Their energy shifted. Their smiles grew tighter, their words more calculated. Every step you took, they took two more, desperate to stay ahead. But ahead of what? You weren't running, you weren't racing, you weren't chasing anything but your own evolution. Yet they were obsessed, watching, studying, measuring themselves against you as if your presence alone dictated their worth. They copied your style, your ideas, even your words, thinking they could bottle what makes you untouchable. They wanted your essence without carrying your spirit. They wanted your power without paying your price. But there's one thing they never understood. You can't fake authenticity. While they exhausted themselves trying to outshine you, you weren't even looking in their direction. While they plotted ways to surpass you, you were lost in your own world, creating, evolving, expanding. You never noticed the competition because you never signed up for it, and that's what destroys them. They fought an invisible war only to realize they were swinging at shadows. They wanted to be better than you, but how do you beat someone who never played the game? Now they're drained, worn out, spiraling, because they thought the goal was to outdo you. But the real goal was to be you, and that was never an option. They never considered one thing. You were watching them too. Every glance they stole, you caught. Every whisper behind closed doors, you felt. Every calculated move, and you predicted before they even made it. You didn't just see them, you studied them, the cracks in their confidence, the way their voice wavered when they tried to sound certain, the desperation they hid behind their forced smiles, their exaggerated success stories, their hollow victories. But you never needed to expose them. They exposed themselves. Because when a man believes he is unseen, he moves carelessly. He reveals who he truly is. And they were so focused on controlling you that they never noticed how much they were revealing. They whispered your name in secret, hoping you'd never hear. They set traps, assuming you'd walk right into them. They twisted narratives, convinced you'd never see through them. But you were always 3 steps ahead. You let them build their illusions. You let them weave their web. You let them believe they were winning. And then, effortlessly, you shifted the light. Now they are the ones under the microscope. The observers have now become the observed. And for the first time, they feel the weight of being truly seen for what they are. Paranoia sets in as they replay every move, every conversation, every slip-up. What did you see? What do you know? What will you do with it? And that fear, that uncertainty, is devouring them. Because now they've realized the undeniable truth. You saw it all. It started as a whisper, a subtle feeling, an unshakable knowing, a pull in your gut that told you there was something different about you. You. You walked through life sensing things others couldn't, feeling the unspoken energy in the air. People reacted to you in ways that defied logic, drawn in, intimidated, intrigued, yet never quite understanding why. At first you questioned it, shrugged it off, tried to blend in, but the signs wouldn't let you, the synchronicities, the repeating patterns that spoke to you in ways the rational mind couldn't explain, the moments that felt too precise to be random, too aligned to be coincidence. The dreams came, vivid, unshakable, lingering long after you woke up. Messages hidden in symbols. Truths revealed in ways only you could decipher. And then, the intuition. So sharp, so undeniable. You just knew things. Who to trust. When to move. When to stay still. Your body reacted before your mind could process it. You felt people's intentions before they ever spoke a word. You weren't imagining it. You weren't paranoid. You were remembering. This life, this body, this exact moment in time. You weren't just born into it. You were sent here. You were chosen. And the moment you stopped doubting it, the moment you finally looked in the mirror and recognized what you were, the entire game changed. You stopped chasing, stopped explaining, stopped seeking validation in places that were never meant to give it to you, because now you knew the reason. Then came the strange disruptions, the way your phone glitched the exact moment you had a deep thought, the way conversations suddenly cut off, calls dropped, screens flickered, almost as if something unseen was listening. And then there were the people, Strangers who seemed too invested in your life. Eyes that lingered a little too long. Questions that felt more like probes than curiosity. A sudden shift. People who once ignored you now watching with a quiet, calculated interest. They noticed you because the moment you stopped shrinking, the moment you stepped fully into your energy, something in the unseen world took note. They're watching, trying to figure you out, trying to decode something that was never meant for them to understand. They don't know what to do with you. You don't follow their patterns. You don't move like them. You don't think like them. You don't operate on their frequency. They're searching for the formula, the explanation, the weak point, but you don't have one. And the more they study you, the less they understand. They comprehend, slowly at first. Confusion turns to frustration. Frustration turns to fear. And then something even more terrifying dawns upon them. You see them too. You feel their presence. The energy shifts, the sudden attention, the subtle tests meant to probe your boundaries, to gauge your reactions. But you don't react. You keep moving, unbothered, untouchable, and that shakes them more than anything else. You saw it, Bershine, the way they started moving differently around you. The silent glances, the forced casualness in their tone, the way conversations felt more like bait than genuine exchanges. They thought you wouldn't notice, but you did. The moment the attention shifted, the energy around you changed. The quiet observers who once dismissed you were now watching. The sudden interest from people who once overlooked you. The way questions became more pointed, more strategic, more calculated. They wanted to see how you'd react. So you gave them nothing. You smiled at the right moments, nodded when expected, moved through the world as if you had no idea they were watching. You played small, ordinary, predictable, a perfect illusion. And they bought it. They mistook your silence for ignorance, your patience for naivety. They believed they were the ones holding the cards, never realizing that all along they were revealing themselves to you, their real intentions, their hidden strategies, their unspoken alliances. They underestimated you, showing their hands while believing you had nothing in yours. But now the realization is setting in. You were never in the dark, never blind, never oblivious. You were waiting, watching, letting them think they had the upper hand. And now that they know the truth, they can't undo what's already been done. Something about you has changed, or at least that's what they tell themselves. But the truth, you were always like this. They just weren't paying attention. At first, they thought they had you figured out, thought you were easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to control. They believed their own illusions, convinced that their whispers shaped your reality, that their judgment defined your worth. But then the shift happened. Your presence grew heavier. Your silence carried weight. Your movements became calculated, deliberate, yet still effortless, still unbothered. You didn't explain yourself. You didn't defend yourself. And you didn't react the way they expected. They expected you to react, but you didn't. And that's when the first cracks appeared. They tried to provoke you, throwing little damn subtle tests, words laced with hidden barbs, all while watching and waiting, desperate to see if they could break your composure. But you remained unshaken. Every trap they set, you sidestepped. Every attempt to rattle you, passed without a second glance. The things that used to get a reaction from you don't even register anymore. And that's what's driving them insane. No matter what they do, they can't pin you down. They can't figure out what you know, how much you've seen, or what's running through your mind. And they can feel it. The energy has shifted. The power dynamic has changed. They're spiraling. Frustration turns to paranoia. Their once unshakable confidence starts to crack. And the harder they try to regain control, the more they reveal just how much they've already lost it. You are not who they thought you were, and now they have no idea what to do about it. They don't know how much you know. That alone keeps them up at night. You watch them scramble, desperately trying to piece it all together. They analyze every word you've ever said, every move you've ever made, searching for the moment they missed, the sign that you were never what they assumed. But you give them nothing. Your silence is louder than any confrontation. It suffocates them, wraps around them, forces them to question everything they thought was true about you. Because in their world, people explain themselves. They overcompensate, overreact, overshare. They fumble under pressure, revealing too much when poked, exposing their insecurities just to feel validated. But you never explain. You never justify. You never give them the satisfaction of knowing what runs through your mind. And that terrifies them. They throw bait, hoping you'll take it. A loaded question here, a passive-aggressive comment there, a calculated scenario designed to make you slip. But you never bite. Your restraint is surgical. You let them think what they want to think. You let them believe their own assumptions, their own mauso, their own delusions. Because the truth? They aren't ready for what you know. If they were, they'd have to face something they've been avoiding all along. You are not someone they can control. They are playing a game where they don't even know the rules. A game you mastered long before they even realized they were just a piece on the board. They're drowning in uncertainty, overthinking every interaction, dissecting every moment, driving themselves mad, trying to predict your next move. When all along, your greatest move was making them think you had one. They don't know your limits. They don't know if you're holding back, waiting, calculating, if you're planning something, or if you've already won. That doubt is the noose tightening around their own arrogance. Because a wise man can play the fool, but a fool can never play the wise. And the more they try to uncover your hand, the deeper they fall into their own illusion. They thought they were playing you. In their mind, every step they took was a calculated move. Every interaction, a strategic placement. Every word, a seed planted to grow in their favor. They believed they were making progress, that you were reacting to them, that they had control. But control was never in their hands. Because while they were moving, you were watching. While they were plotting, you were studying. While they were focused on their next move, you had already played 10 ahead. They never saw the board for what it really was. You let them think they had the advantage. Let them believe their strategies were working, that they were inching closer to outmaneuvering you. Every fake smile, every hidden insult, every behind-the-scenes scheme, they thought it was all slipping past you. But it wasn't. You noticed everything. You just let them move freely, knowing they were only setting themselves up for failure. You knew their weaknesses, their pride, their arrogance. You knew they would overextend, expose their intentions, reveal their desperation. And piece by piece, you built the perfect trap. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't obvious. It was patient, deliberate, inevitable. Every time they thought they gained ground, they were only stepping deeper into the illusion you allowed them to believe. Every time they thought they had you figured out, they were only revealing themselves further. Now they have no moves left. The realization is sinking in. The panic is creeping through. They look at you differently now, not as someone they can control, but as someone they never truly understood to begin with. The certainty they once carried is gone, replaced by an unsettling truth they can no longer ignore. You were always in control. This was never their game to win. You waited, not out of fear, not out of hesitation, but out of precision. They needed to believe they were winning. They needed to elate their own arrogance, to build their fragile house of illusions, to walk with the certainty that they had you cornered, and you let them. Every whisper behind closed doors, every smug glance, every attempt to discredit you, outshine you, control you, you watched, unmoved, as they stacked their fragile victories, mistaking your patience for powerlessness. They thought you were weak. And then, one moment, one move, one statement, and everything they built collapsed. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it didn't need to be. Because truth doesn't need an audience to shake foundations. You revealed just enough, a subtle shift, a carefully placed word, a single action, that shattered the illusion they spent so much time weaving. And they felt it, the unraveling. The cold realization creeping up their spine. The moment they finally understood, you were never blind. You were never behind. You were never at their mercy. You had them figured out before they even knew the game had begun. Now they stand in the ruins of their own arrogance, scrambling for explanation, searching desperately for a way to regain control. But it's too late, because for the first time they see what was there all along. They lost before they ever had a chance to win. You never needed their validation. You never sought their approval. They fought for control over a game they created in their own mind, a game where they mistook your silence for ignorance, your patience for weakness, your detachment for submission. But they never had control. You were never playing, but you were observing, letting them reveal themselves, letting them expose the fragile foundation beneath their arrogance. They spent their energy trying to break you, only to break themselves in the process. Now they are trapped, not by you, but by their own obsession. Trapped in the realization that every move they made only secured your victory. Trapped in the silence you left behind. Forced to replay every moment, every conversation, every choice that led to their downfall. But you don't argue, you don't explain, you don't stay to witness the aftermath. You walk away. And that is the final move. Because more than anything else, they wanted your attention. And now they can never have it. That's all for today, dear Father. I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this message spoke to your spirit, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us about your journey and how you're preparing for your own powerful return. If you feel led to support our mission, you can contribute through Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description. Every gift matters, whether it's a small donation, a prayer, or simply sharing this video. Your support helps us continue to create meaningful content and spread light, truth, and hope to others. And don't stop here. Check out our next video, where we reveal the powerful signs that you are truly one of the chosen. It's been an honor to walk this path with you. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Keep shining your light, embrace your calling, and never forget, you were made for this. Blessings to all the radiant souls from the